Coming up on Carolina News, rainy rapids. With all the rain over the past week, the Congaree River is under a river flood warning. We're down there with a look at the rushing water. Food truck to shop. How one Columbia business owner opened up a brand new permanent location in the middle of a pandemic. And bringing the country to the classroom, while one local high school brought animals into the building. Carolina News starts now.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Danielle Reeder.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Madeline Stewart. Controversial legislation surrounding abortions is now law in South Carolina.
Governor Henry McMaster signed the bill after the House passed it earlier today. The law bans most abortions except under specific circumstances. Carolina
News' Sydney Edwards is live at the State House with more. Sydney?
Yes, the South Carolina General Assembly passed the statewide federal heart rate bill. The bill passed with a 79-35 vote, while many Democrats walked out of the debate in protest. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster signed the bill into action this afternoon.
Have a duty. It is a duty that we share as Americans and as South Carolinians to protect life.
This bill stops abortions after 6 to 8 weeks and will only permit an abortion under conditions of rape, incest, or if carrying the baby would harm the mother.
I'm not going to demonize them, but I am going to give this bill the legal representation that it deserves.
Organizations such as Planned Parenthood have already signed to sue and block this bill today. Live from the South Carolina State House, I'm Sydney Edwards, Carolina News.
Thanks, Sydney. Over the past week, heavy rains have pounded the Midlands, and now the city of Columbia is under a river flood warning.
When the Congaree River gets over 15 feet deep, the National Weather Service considers it to be flooding. This morning, the river was over 17 feet deep.
Carolina News' Lawrence Thompson is down at the river with more. Lawrence?
Thanks, you guys. I'm here at the Congaree River where it's raining pretty hard out here. According to the National Weather Service of Richland County, we will be experiencing these severe flash floods and severe storms throughout your weekend.
Heavy rain and severe thunderstorms are possible across the Midlands. Up to an inch of rain is expected to fall by the end of Thursday. Because of the past few weeks of rainfall, the expected rain is not the only reason of the fast flood watch. Areas that are low-lying and traditional flood-prone areas are at greatest risk.
Thing we usually say is turn around, don't drown.
The exact timing of the severe weather is unclear, but there's a flash flood watch in effect until 7 a.m. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Lawrence. Hope you're staying dry out there, but also out there in the rain is Anna Austin Boyers with a look at your first forecast. Anna Austin, please tell us there is some dry weather on the way.
Thanks, Madeline. Rain and scattered storms are coming through the Midlands today and tomorrow that most of the U.S. have already been experiencing. However, we have brighter days ahead coming this weekend. I'll have more on that next. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Anna Austin. If you're supposed to get vaccinated at the Gamecock Park today, it was probably got moved inside. All appointments were moved to Prisma Health Baptist because of the rain. Prisma Health says that they have enough doses of the vaccine to give a shot to everyone today. And people who missed their appointments earlier in the week, the site was also moved on Monday because of the weather. New data from the Department of Health and Environmental Control shows that Black South Carolinians are getting the coronavirus vaccine at lower rates than white people. Black South Carolinians make up 12.5% of the vaccinations, despite making up nearly 30% of the state's population. But experts say it is critical that people of color get their shots.
We need to get the COVID-19 vaccine because we are the most vulnerable group. We cannot afford not to get vaccinated. Our lives depend on getting the vaccine.
The dashboard can be found on DHEC's website. The data was last updated Monday night. It does not say when it will be updated next. Data released by the CDC today reveals that life expectancy in the United States dropped 1 year during the first half of 2020. The decline was due to the coronavirus pandemic, and the last time a drop like that was recorded was during the World War II. The impact was most severe in racial minority groups. Black Americans lost almost 3 years, and Hispanics lost about 2 years.
The SC House of Medical Affairs Subcommittee considered proposals to allow teachers to get vaccine now as part of Phase 1A. Currently, only seniors, healthcare workers, and first responders are eligible for the vaccine, while teachers are still in Phase 1B. The push for this change is to allow classes to return to 5-day-a-week instruction in schools statewide by helping with staffing issues.
If the goal of opening school buildings is simply to allow students to walk through the door, we can probably achieve that without educator vaccination. But if the goal is to achieve a rich learning environment for every student who walks in a classroom, vaccine access is the key.
There was not a final vote at the end of the hearing. The subcommittee say they need more information from DHEC and want to see if the FDA will approve the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for emergency use authorization. They plan to meet again next week. That push comes as COVID-19 cases continue to fall in South Carolina. DHEC reported 655 new confirmed cases on Wednesday and 50 deaths. Over 9,000 people were tested and 9.1% were positive. This is the lowest number of cases since November 8th. Tuesday was the first day with less than 1,000 cases since November 15th. DHEC continues to update the numbers daily.
The NAACP chapter at the University of South Carolina just held a call to action, encouraging students and school officials to contact legislature over the Heritage Act. Logan Gray has more on the act standing in the way of renaming buildings on campus.
I'm at the University of South Carolina, and behind me is Thomas Cooper Library, which is one of many buildings under fire because of its name. Multiple buildings on campus, such as Thomas Cooper Library, Sims, Wade Hampton, and Strom Thurmond Gym, have been named after figures with a racist past.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Earlier today, Kaylee Bright, the president of USC's NAACP chapter, held a press conference encouraging students and others to speak out to change the name of these buildings.
How do you think naming buildings after racist figures makes us feel? What we really want is for the university officials and state legislators to take a stance toward valuing their black students.
Last June, students began to advocate for name changes, but the university has not taken much action since then, so many think the university is actually dragging its feet.
Yes, I do think that the school has been dragging their feet with this process. This is the reason that we had the press conference today, so we could get traction under our feet with this movement, so they know that this is not going away and it still needs to happen.
Kaylee Bright, who also believes the university's future is bright, ended her speech with optimism, encouraging students and the university to work together. For Carolina News, I'm Logan Gray.
One member of USC's NAACP chapter added that we cannot change history, but we can decide who or what we represent.
Coming up on Carolina News, small business owners are trying to grow their businesses by turning their food trucks into permanent shops.
How one coffee shop owner opened a brick and mortar in the middle of a pandemic.